Hi, today we're going to talk a little bit about measuring flour. I've met many seasoned cooks who avoid making doughs. They're dough phobic. They've had bad experiences themselves and they simply avoid making doughs. I was like that at one point too. I think one of the main reasons is because people don't always measure their flour correctly. When you get it right, your doughs will be more consistent and more successful. So let's talk about that. First things first. Why should we weigh our flour instead of relying solely on measuring cups? Because when we weigh flour, we get consistent amounts of flour, and that leads to better and more consistent results. There's nothing more frustrating than thinking you've followed a recipe to the letter, and one day it works and another day it doesn't. Measuring by volume or measuring by cups can be inconsistent. It depends on how densely the flour is packed into the cup. It can also matter which cups you're using. Your cup measure may not be the same size as my cup measure, and I'm not talking about manufacturing errors. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Some measuring cups are 236 milliliters. It's called a US customary cup. It's the metric equivalent of 8 fluid ounces. Someone decided that 236 wasn't a great number, so they rounded it to 240 milliliters. That's called a US legal cup. Of course, that means 4 cups is 960 milliliters. And what's the best part of the metric system? Everything is based on tens. So you can also buy measuring cups that are 250 milliliters. So that 4 cups is 1,000 milliliters, or 1 liter. Of course, some cup measuring sets, like this one, don't make a lot of sense. The half cup is half of the 250 milliliters, but the third and quarter cups are based on the 240 milliliter cup. So 4 of those quarter cups won't equal the metric cup. That's annoying. And then there's also a cup known as the imperial cup, which is 284 milliliters. It's unlikely you have one of those, but it's possible. So you can see, even by using measuring cups, you won't get the same results because it depends on how big your measuring cup is. So different measuring cups vary anywhere from 236 to 284 milliliters. Confused? Me too. That's another reason to weigh your ingredients, because 300 grams of flour is always 300 grams of flour. Even if we ignore the variation on sizes of the cup measures themselves, the density of the flour in the cup can create even larger variance. Let's do a quick test. I'm going to scoop my cup into the flour and really pack it in, then level it. Now we'll weigh the flour and see what we get. Now let me do it again, but instead, I'll first loosen up the flour by fluffing it up with the scoop. This time, I'll scoop flour into the measuring cup until it's overflowing, and then level it like last time. How much does this cup weigh? As you can see, these 2 cups of flour had very different results. It may not seem significant, but if you've ever made dough that was too sticky, or the opposite, it just wouldn't stick together at all, you probably didn't have the right amount of flour. So your flour to liquid ratio was off. It's very frustrating. Well, there's no universally accepted measurement for how much a cup of flour should weigh. 120 grams is a common standard used by many cooks and many bakers. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter that much if you always weigh your flour and use recipes that are based on weight, not volume. Remember, regardless of how many measuring cups the flour might fill, 120 grams of flour is 120 grams of flour. So weigh your flour for consistent results. A digital scale isn't that expensive, and the investment is well worth it.